guys, and welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and in today's video we are going to be reviewing none other than Morbius.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.
Yes, we are going to be reviewing the vampire movie. What can I say about it? Now, I have to say this. If you were expecting what Sony was promising, yep, it's gone. The whole thing about him being related to Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man from No Way Home cameos and all that, like there was supposed to be a painting of Spider-Man in the background that was actually from Spider-Man No Way Home or something like that. Like, there was always supposed to be some sort of connectivity within the Spider-Verse that would connect all of the next Spider-Man villains together, hopefully leading up to a movie where they would be together. I don't know. That was kind of the idea, and that's not present in the movie. Yep, that is not present in the movie. We have no idea about if Eddie Brock, aka Venom, was ever gonna show up in this movie or not. Turns out, no. Well, that was kind of the hope, right? That there would be some connectivity to this Spider-Verse that Sony was creating, and there was absolutely 100% none in this movie. It kind of sucks, but with that said, I went into this movie already knowing that it was gone. If I went into this movie thinking that was the case, yeah, and not seeing it, I would have been enraged, just like a lot of my friends who reviewed this movie and gave this movie not a bad review, but a lower tier review. Because of that, I understand. But I went into this movie knowing that it wasn't that, and just looking at the story of Morbius. Realize I am not a comic book reader. The only information I have on Morbius is the fact that, one, he's a Spider-Man villain. Two, I did watch a couple of Spider-Man TV shows in my time, and Morbius was a villain for Spider-Man in a couple of those shows, so I do know who Morbius is. I do know the vampire guy, but let's go ahead and talk about it. So, the fact is, I do know in the comic books as well as in the shows, the way Morbius turns into, of course, the vampire is he mixes bat blood with, of course, he's very sick, you know, he's trying to cure himself, and he mixes bat blood with Spider-Man's blood, and that gives him super vampire powers. Well, in this one, he has no relationship to Spider-Man at all. He's never met Peter Parker ever. So, basically what it is, in this one, scratch that, he's trying to cure himself, he's trying to get healthy again. He's very sick. He's very smart though. He's able to even fix one of his friend's machines to hopefully keep his friend alive. He's a very great genius, even from a young age. Now that he's an adult, you know, he's trying to cure his own sickness as well as his friend's sickness. They both have the same sickness. I don't know what sickness they have, but that wasn't actually said in the movie. If it was, I didn't catch it. But he's trying to cure himself, and he finds these vampire bats that live off of blood. And he hopes that they hold the secret to hopefully fight off his disease. And so he tries it. He does some crazy experiments, illegal experiments that he can't do in nation waters. He has to do on a boat at sea. He does these crazy experiments, and of course, that turns him into a vampire. And he goes crazy, and he sucks all of their blood, killing the guards, leaving his girl barely alive. When he awakens again as human, he's super powered, he's super strong, he's able to walk normally again, and so he decides, you know what, I have to call up somebody and then run. So he calls up the cops, and then he goes on the run, trying to fight off whatever he's caused for himself. Of course, becoming a vampire, you know, he's noticing that he has echolocation, his teeth are sharpening, he has this weird taste for blood. Now, he did invent this fake blood, this replacement blood, and it's supposed to, of course, help soldiers that lose arms and stuff like that. There's a lot of uses for his fake blood. It's actually saved a bunch of lives, including his own, and he's using that blood to hopefully keep himself fed, but it's not working as long as it should. He's craving the real stuff, and that's his problem. As the movie goes on, you know, it comes to maybe 6 hours he's able to feed to, he can't even feed on it for more than an hour a day because he's crazy, he needs the real stuff. And he doesn't want to suck the real stuff. He doesn't want to kill people, you know? On the other hand, we have his friend, his childhood friend, who, you know, he's been sick his entire life too, and he's seeing that Morbius is now strong and healthy again. He wants to be strong and healthy too, and he thinks he's just holding it back from him. He thinks that he's just being selfish, that he wants all the strength and not anybody else, when really he's trying to protect himself, protect his friend from becoming the monster that himself has become. But unfortunately, his friend takes the dive and becomes a monster himself. So he has to go and fight off his friend. He eventually does beat his friend, and of course his girl is also involved. I can't remember her name, but she turns into a vampire at the end too. Apparently he turns her into a vampire as he tries to save her life and hopefully kill the monster that his friend has turned into by becoming the monster that he is. And then he does, and that turns him into an anti-hero. Alright, that's Morbius in a nutshell. I could go into much more detail, but it's not really worth going into more detail. Honestly, it's a good film, but it's a short film. It's a fast film. Like, literally, we go from Morbius being sick and injured to Morbius being a vampire within the span of like 10 minutes. It's a fast film. And that's the only part that I didn't like, is how fast it was. Like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't feel rushed. I want to make that clear. It doesn't feel rushed. It felt well paced, but by the end of the movie, you're like, wow, was this really an hour and a half long? It felt like half an hour. It felt like we just ran through it. It's not that the pacing is too fast, it's just, wow, that was a really short, fast film. I expected a little bit longer of a film. I expected a little bit slower of the story. Maybe if the story was a little bit slower, we could pay a little bit more attention to some other characters' arcs in this movie. Like his girlfriend's arc, or like we could build up his relationship with the old man that took care of him. We got none of that. Yeah, it's a good movie. I would honestly give the film a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's a bad movie. I felt like Doctor Strange was better than Morbius for sure. But yeah, really fast movie. It was a good movie. I don't think it was a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. I don't think it deserves the hate that it got. I think Sony kind of does, because Sony decided to promote this film like it was part of the Spider-Verse and then have none of the Spider-Verse in the movie. None of the connectivity to the Spider-Verse, you know? Like, if we had just that one picture of Spider-Man on the wall, that would mean it would connect to the Spider-Verse, and that would mean that that would make sense. But we don't have any of that in this film. That kinda sucks, but honestly, other than that, and it's really because of that I'm not giving it an 8 out of 10, and it's because of such a fast-paced movie that I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10. Like, I think a 7 out of 10 is me being very generous to this movie. I did like the film. I'm not gonna say I hated it. I did like the film. I just felt like it should have been more. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad movie. I actually do think that you should definitely watch it. Know going into this film that it is not going to be connected to the Spider-Verse at all. Just go into this movie and enjoy the story. I think you'll find that it's really not that bad of a movie. I think you'll find that you'll actually enjoy it. I actually ended up really enjoying it with my Uncle Chris. Shout out to my Uncle Chris, by the way, who sat there and watched it with me. It was a really, really good film. Thank you guys for watching, and I am out. Bye.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.